You ever think back to a random game that you played as a kid and you want to give it another go? Yeah, that was me with Peggle Deluxe. So let's briefly talk about what Peggle is and whether it's still worth your time and money in 2020. So what is Peggle? Peggle is a casual puzzle game where the goal is to shoot balls at pegs. Hence the name Peggle. Each peg disappears at the end of each round after you hit it, and the goal is to get rid of all the orange pegs on the map. The concept is incredibly straightforward, but there's a challenge involved with where you want to aim and how you want to bounce your balls in order to get them to clear out all the orange pegs before you run out of shots. But also a couple other mechanics that add flavor to the game. Most notably, there are green magic pegs that you can hit that give you special powers depending on which Peggle master you're using on that given game. There are 10 Peggle masters, so there are a lot of different powers you can play around with that each added a unique twist to the fairly simple puzzle game. So for example, if you have the crab master, you get the green peg, you get to use these pinball-like flippers for a few rounds, while the dragon master lets you shoot a fireball that goes directly through all the pegs. There's also a scoring system involved in Peggle, but that's mostly for people that want to chase high scores, though there is one exception. If you get enough points on a certain round, you can also get a free shot or an extra shot, which is a nice extra game mechanic in Peggle. The game modes of Peggle Deluxe are also fairly straightforward. There's the campaign, where you have 5 levels for each of the 10 Peggle masters, and there's 5 extra levels at the end, where you can play with whichever master you want. Most of the normal campaign isn't that challenging, but the difficulty does ramp up for the last few levels in subsequent challenge missions. And these challenge missions that you can play after the campaign are nice, and they have a little twist to them. So for example, some challenge missions have more orange pegs for you to hit, or some challenge missions give you fewer shots to clear the game. You can also go head-to-head against your friends or the computer in the duel mode, where you alternate shots on the same board. I didn't really like this game mode that much, but it is there for you if you want some kind of player versus player mechanic. But really, all of these game modes are just small variants on the same gameplay of shooting the balls at the pegs and getting all the orange pegs. Luck also plays a decently sized role in the difficulties missions, since the location of all the orange and green pegs are randomized at the start of each game. And some peg layouts make the game just so much easier to clear. And while there's definitely skill involved in aiming and predicting how the ball will bounce, there's also a lot of apparent randomness there. After a few bounces, it feels random in regard to where the ball goes, what pegs it will hit. Though of course, that's part of the fun of games, just sort of seeing it bounce around in unpredictable ways is part of what makes it a fun, casual game. The game is also definitely really old. You can see that from the square aspect ratio in my footage. It is remastered or revised a bit for modern systems. And while I have heard some reports of tech issues, I didn't have any problems myself. The game also has a lot of flashy effects when you get certain scores or when you win a certain game. And this makes sense when you realize that Peggle is inspired a lot by casino games, so it has that flash and show in it. So is Peggle worth your time and money? For the $1 I paid for it, I would say yes. It's a fun, relaxing game, and you can beat the base campaign in an afternoon or take a longer amount of time tackling the harder challenges. It's a simple game, and it's a nice change of pace from a lot of other games I've been playing recently. They're just more intense and more action-focused. Of course, it's not for everyone. The gameplay is very limited and simple. What you see is kind of all there is. So if you do want a game with more depth, don't look too much at Peggle. Along similar lines, don't expect this to be a game you'll play for hundreds of hours because there just isn't enough content for that. Please like this video to help me out if you found it enjoyable or informative, and I'll link some more reviews of mine in the description down below. Thanks for watching.